What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get very optimistic about this Pistons team. Jalen Duren has had quite the year for the Detroit Pistons, so I wanted to make a video and just talk about where he started, where he is now. We're going to go over and talk about his offense, his defense, and then towards the back half of the video, we're also going to speak on the possible extension of his contract that he will be eligible for this summer. So we'll just kind of ballpark where we think that might be for a value and talk through that at the very end of the video. So the first thing that we need to point out is the fact that Jalen Duren very clearly started the season slow. We talked about it a lot on this channel throughout that whole process. I talked about how much better I thought he could be, especially because during the summer I was talking about how it might be a breakout year for him. But throughout all of that stretch, I never gave up on him because at the end of the day, he's a 21-year-old with all the physical talent in the world. He even pointed this out recently in a press conference. He said, quote unquote, "It's pretty obvious I started the season slow on some soft-ish. It was kind of just me knowing myself and holding myself accountable." That was in reference to kind of turning things around. So that is what we're going to talk about here to start, is where he was at the start of the year and where he is now. At the very start of the year, I remember looking at his stats and he was at rock bottom across the entire board. He was playing the least amount of minutes in his entire career. He was scoring the least. He was getting the least amount of rebounds. He was honestly playing as bad as he ever had. Even rookie Jalen Duren was playing better than the first part of this year, Jalen Duren. But now, looking at his stats, he's up to back to averaging a double-double. He's averaging 10.8 points per game, 10.2 rebounds. He's got a career high in assist average at 2.5. He's got a career high in blocks at 1.2, a career high in field goal percentage at nearly 70% from the floor, and his free throw percentage is starting to creep back up closer to where it was last year. So if we look at the month-by-month breakdown for Jalen Duren, in the start of the year, in October, he averaged 8.6 points per game. And then in the month of November, 8.9. The month of December, 10.3. The month of January, 12.3. And now in the month of February, he's averaging 13.7 points per game. Every single month as the season has gone on, Jalen Duren has averaged more and more points. And also, during this stretch in time, in the month of February, he's averaging 4 assists per game on the month as well. So offensively, Jalen Duren has just flat out gotten better. No question about it. I've always believed in his potential offensively. I never doubted that for a day in my life, especially because he plays alongside Cade Cunningham. And with Cade's play style, he is able to make somebody like Jalen Duren, who is a great lob threat and provides vertical spacing, a really, really good weapon. So I just think that he's a great fit going forward next to Cade Cunningham because he is so good at catching lobs and Cade is so good at finding him on those. And the offense has been really good. I know a lot of people have been really intrigued by the increase in assists. As I mentioned, he's averaging 4 per game in the month of February, but that doesn't concern me all of that much. It is cool sometimes when he does lead the break and makes a play out of it, but I'm really not all that sure that the best path going forward for Jalen Duren is being a type of center who's getting a lot of high post touches and trying to find guys on backdoor cuts or swinging it to the corner or anything like that. Not only because I don't think that's his best use of his skill set, I just think that with the way Cade is, and especially once Ivey gets back, we really don't need to have him in that type of role. I would much rather have him focusing on setting screens, rolling hard to the rim, getting offensive boards, and all of those types of things on the offensive end of the floor, rather than being like a playmaking hub. But I guess it is cool that he has been able to show signs of doing that. And as far as leading the break goes, I'm all for that. I know sometimes he does have a habit of trying to make a home run pass when leading the break, but I think that could be a good weapon going forward. So offensively, I was never that down on him. The free throw percentage is up as well, which is great to see, but it's looked even better than I expected it to, and he's turned it around faster than I thought he would on the offensive end. So to speak on the defensive side of the ball for Jalen Duren, it's no secret that people were unhappy, including myself, with the defensive effort that Jalen Duren was showing at the beginning of the year. I think when he mentioned in that quote that he was playing soft, it was mostly in relation to his defense. So far, since the new year, especially when Ivy went down, kind of right around that time when the Pistons really started to go on a run, or shortly before that, I feel like Jalen Duren has done a great job defensively for relative to what we've seen from him in the previous years and at the beginning of the season. There's still a ways to go. I would love for him to get in foul trouble a little bit less often, but the numbers on that are going down as well. If we go back and look at the month of October, 3.4 fouls per game, 2.9 in November, and then it was up to 3.5 for both the month of December and January, and now this month in February, he's only at 2.7. But Jalen Duren does lead the league in numbers of first quarters where he gets 2 fouls. The one kind of silver lining in that is when Jalen Duren does get in early foul trouble, it doesn't bother me that much because I totally trust Isaiah Stewart to come in and play. And if he really gets in foul trouble, or Stewart also gets in foul trouble, that just means Paul Reed minutes, and Paul Reed minutes have gone pretty great anytime we've had them this year. So the foul trouble doesn't concern me all that much right now, just because we have the depth to make up for it. But overall, would like to see him still improve on that. But everything else on the defensive end has been more or less fine as far as I'm concerned and can tell. I know that he has struggled guarding stretch fives in his career and also this year, but I think he's done a better job at that recently too, getting out on the perimeter and contesting those shots. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with Jalen Duren, both sides of the ball, currently speaking. As far as the contract extension goes this year, to my knowledge, he is eligible for a contract extension this summer, which is definitely true. And I know that we don't have to give him that right away. We can kind of play it out for another year and let him hit restricted free agency, but I don't think that is the best course of action. And I think that he has shown us enough, especially since the turn of the year here, that we should probably just extend him a pretty good offer and keep him wrapped up long term, because at 21 years old, the sky is the limit for him still. And just considering how the team has been this year, his natural fit with Cade as a lob threat, I think it's best if we just offer him a contract sooner than later, or as soon as we possibly can, to extend him for a long period of time. I personally would love to see him get signed somewhere around that $20 million a year mark. However, I do think that's probably going to be a little bit low. The reason why I say that is not because I don't want Jalen Duren to get paid. I hope he gets the bag, but just for the Pistons cap situation going forward, because I know right now, of course, we had cap space this year, but next year, Cade's extension will kick in at the same time that we're eligible to extend Duren. We'll also be eligible to extend Ivy. I think we all want to re-sign Beasley. Next summer, Ausar will be contract extension eligible. The summer after that, it'll be Holland. So would love to see it be somewhere around $20 million, just slightly more than Stu. But realistically, I think that 25 to 30 range is probably more likely where it's going to have to be to make sure that he hops all over that extension and gets it taken care of this summer. So if that's what it takes, I say let's do it. I'm happy with how Jalen Duren has played, especially as of late. Even when he was struggling at the beginning of the year, I never gave up on him. You can check my previous videos. I did say I think that he could play better, because he definitely could, and he is showing that now. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch up soon.